Number 1. Plague of Athens. In an ancient period, 430 to 427 BCE, plague break out in Athens. This epidemic was first in history recorded and struck Athens during the second year of the Peloponnesian War, 430 BC. Athens is one of the oldest cities in the world and the leading city of ancient Greece in the first millennium BC. Origin of the epidemic occurred in Saharan Africa just south of Ethiopia. The epidemic killed 75,000 to 100,000 people, which is 1/3 of the population of Athens. Number 2. Antonine Plague. In an ancient period 165 to 180 AD, the Antonine Plague, also known as the Plague of Galen, hit the Roman Empire. Origin of the epidemic most likely emerged in China shortly before 166 AD, spreading westward along the Silk Road and by trading ships headed for Rome. Around 5 million people were killed. The disease attacked as much as 1/3 population in some areas of Europe. Number 3. Plague of Justinian. In the medieval period 541 to 542 AD, the plague break out in Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire. Plague takes its name from the monarch of the Byzantine Empire, Justinian I. Origin of the epidemic most likely emerged in China and traveled to India via the Silk Route and then on to the west. 50 million people were died. It took its second phase and finally vanished in 750 AD. Number 4. The Black Death. In the medieval period 1346 to 1353 AD, the bubonic plague that hit the Europe and Asia. Origin of the epidemic most likely emerged in Asia and traveled to Europe on ships that housed black rats. The Black Death killed over 200 million people across the world. Number 5. Cholera pandemic. In the past 200 years, 7 cholera pandemics hit the world, and the first cholera pandemic originated in the Bengal region of India in 1817. Periods of 7 cholera pandemics. First cholera pandemic from 1817 to 1824, second cholera pandemic from 1829 to 1837, began in Russia. Third cholera pandemic from 1846 to 1860, began in Russia. Fourth cholera pandemic from 1863 to 1875, began in the Ganga Delta of Bengal in India. Fifth cholera pandemic from 1881 to 1896, began in Hamburg, Germany. Sixth cholera pandemic from 1899 to 1923, began in Western Europe, and seventh cholera pandemic from 1961 to 1975, began in Indonesia. Lack of treatment of human feces and lack of treatment of drinking water facilitate its spread. Millions of people are died from 7 cholera pandemics. Number 6. American polio. In 1894 AD, the first major polio outbreak in the United States. It turns into epidemic in 1916 in New York City. More than 2,000 people died in New York City. Number 7. Spanish flu. In 1918, the Spanish flu hit the world, which is the deadliest pandemic in modern history. The Spanish flu did not originate in Spain. The first case was reported at Camp Funston in Fort Riley, Kansas, on March 11, 1918. Kansas is a U.S. state in Midwestern United States. About 500 million people are infected and killed over 50 million people. The Spanish flu was the first of 2 pandemics caused by H1N1 influenza A virus. The second was the 2009 swine flu pandemic. Number 8. Asian flu. In 1957, the Asian flu hit the world. Originated in Guizhou, China, which is caused by influenza A virus subtype H2N2. The virus killed 2 million people. Number 9. HIV/AIDS. In 1976, the first case identified in the Republic of Congo, but did not become a pandemic. In 1981, the outbreak of HIV and AIDS swept across the United States and rest of the world. The virus has killed over 35 million people in the decades of its existence. Number 10. Zika virus. In 1947, the first case identified in Uganda, in monkeys. Later in 1952, it is identified in humans, in Uganda and the United Republic of Tanzania. But in April 2015, the outbreak began in Brazil with epidemic. Zika virus is caused by Aedes mosquitoes, which bite during the day. Over 1.5 million people affected. Now, the pandemic named COVID-19 showing its face. Stay safe.